Welcome to this 3D modeling tutorial using Onshape. Onshape, it's a very versatile web-based 3D modeling software. It's very easy to use. Since it's web-based, it doesn't require any installation in your laptop or computer. And because we are part of the University of Chicago Laboratory Schools, we have a free account that we're going to be using throughout this tutorial and probably throughout this course. So to access your account, we're not going to use the main Onshape website, which is the one you're seeing right now, onshape.com, but actually we're going to use the one that is ucls.onshape.com. ucls.onshape.com, that's the website you're gonna use, which is this one. In it, you're gonna sign in with your Google credentials, and once you're in, you're gonna be looking at a windows kind of similar like this. If it's your first time using Onshape, you won't see much activity or any activity here yet, but you'll be in the activities or the activity tab whatsoever. So first we're gonna go and I'll show you what the Onshape workspace looks like and where you can find the tools we'll be using in the next steps. So go on and hit Documents, click on Create, and create a document, which you can call Test for now. You don't have to create it actually. You can just follow along this video. But if you want to like follow along and see and do exactly as I'm doing, you're totally welcome to it. So this is the workspace on Onshape. Here in the middle of the window you have the 3D modeling space, which is like a window of a 3D modeling or a 3D environment. So this is where you want to like move around and check out the models you're creating at any given time. And for this matter, for purposes of like viewing your model in different views, I strongly encourage you from this moment on to use a wired mouse or a mouse instead of using your touchpad. Why? Because I think it's gonna make your life way easier to use a mouse. It's probably gonna help you so much just by having the scroll button where you can zoom in and zoom out kind of easily. And also because from now on, you'll hear in this or in the future videos me referencing the right click and the left click during the instructions, so just for you to follow along. So here we have the 3D workspace. On the left we have the features menu and the parts menu. On the top you have the name of the document and all the 3D modeling tools. These tools at the top will be changing, you'll see in a minute, depending on what we're doing at any given moment. And on the right you have the navigation cube and some options for the kind of use or how you're viewing the models that we are creating. So to get us started, just check out the navigation cube for now. See how the top, front, and right of this navigation cube meets the shapes of the top, front, and right plane. This right here, this kind of sheets that we see in the front, these are planes. And this point here in the middle is called an origin. Now this is default geometry for your models, since we're going to be creating sketches and models, but this is just a white void that doesn't have anything in it. We have to start from somewhere. So This front, right, and top planes are for you to take as reference for when to create a sketch at the beginning, but these are not models. These are not part of the models we're gonna create. And just so you know, if at any given moment a part or a feature or any geometry that we've created you don't want to see, you can always go here and hide them from your view. Actually, if we hide all the planes and the geometry, what you'll find is a white void. I'm gonna show them again, but there they are. If you ever get lost in this white void, like I'm zooming in into this very random point, you can right click the screen and select isometric, and it will bring you back to the origin. The same goes if this happens again and you click on the top view, or maybe in this corner of the navigation cube, it will bring you back to this screen. So for you to know, just to consider it if you ever get lost in this 3D world. Now, before we go ahead and show you some other tools, here next to the name, it's a menu button where you can modify the workspace units. And I bring this up because for most of the models that I create, I usually select millimeters as the length default unit. I will tell you, or we will address in class if we actually need to use anything different from that, like inches. But for now, I think it's safe to say that you should modify the units for millimeters before we go on to the next steps of these tutorials. Now that we know how to create a document, what the workspace looks, let's create a sketch. And again, this is just a test document, so you don't have to actually create this, but I am gonna, so just to show you like how this process works. Here on the menu, on the tools that are on the top of the window, select the sketch feature or the sketch tool, and it'll ask you first to select the sketch plane. This is why it's important to have the planes. For this case, I'll just select the top plane. So anything that I'm about to sketch in here is only gonna be reflected in the top plane. For that matter, though, it might be useful for me to look directly, have an aerial view of the top plane, rather than to have this isometric one. So for that, I might just go here into the navigation cube and select top. These lines represent the right and what was the other name? And the front plane. But if we don't want to see them, we can just like click here and hide them for us. So right now we're only seeing at the top plane, which is also the plane where our sketch number 1 is gonna be created. And see that now that we're into this sketch mode, now all the tools that appear here at the top are different, and these are related to how to create lines, curves, and then how to dimension those or constrain those afterwards. So for now, I'm just gonna create a circle. If you see the tool that we're using, it's called center point circle. I clicked on the origin to be for that to be the center point. And now, as I haven't clicked again, and now I'm about to decide what the diameter is going to be. Now, see the diameter is like changing every time I move my cursor, but I'm just going to click here for now. And this might not be the diameter I want for this, but I will change that if I need to in the dimensions later on. But for now, I just create a circle, in this sketch number 1, which is located in the top view. And if I if I click anywhere else, I'm gonna still be creating circles. So why don't you just go here and create this tool again, or just hit escape on your keyboard so you stop creating circles afterwards. By using my right click, you can see that, you know, this just represents a circle in the top view, but this is just a sketch. So I'm not doing anything with that sketch. If I needed to modify something about it, like its diameter, I'll go here to dimension and click on the circle in order to change that, like I'm gonna do right now. And I'm just gonna hit 50. So now this circle has a 50 millimeter diameter. Say that's all I want to do in this sketch, so I'm just gonna hit OK. And now this is no 3D model, but now it's up to me to use this sketch as reference for creating a 3D model using one of these tools. One of the most common ones is the one called extrude. So if I click extrude, I will need to select a sketch or region or face that I want to extrude. In this case, I'm gonna select this region, which is a little bit like darkened or shaded. And now here I'll select the depth of it, which in this case will be, I don't know, 25 sounds alright. 25 millimeters of depth. It is a solid. I'm creating a new 3D object. I'll just hit click and that's it. So now that I'm out of the sketch mode, you'll see like all the tools that we had at the beginning. This is very important because if you want to modify anything from the sketch number 1 that we did, you may want to go here on the features menu, select the sketch number 1, and maybe double click it. So you're back into the sketch mode, back into this specific sketch, and now you can use the sketch tools to modify what you did previously here. And the cool thing about this is, for example, if I modify this dimension, the following steps that go after that first sketch will be also modified according to that. So this extrude number 1 that we did after the sketch now it's 60 millimeters in diameter. So that's about it for this first tutorial. Again, you didn't have to create this first test piece, and if you want to, you can just like delete these steps that we did, and even like change the name, just for you to create a different model or call it differently for your next piece. But yeah, this is the introduction to Onshape. I hope it was easy to follow, and I'll see you in the next video.